Hello and welcome to another Portworx demo. Today we're going to be talking about app-aware multi-cluster and multi-cloud data protection and disaster recovery scenarios with PX Backup. Now, PX Backup, as you can see, supports many different types of clouds, both AWS, on-prem, GKE. Today we'll be showing a multi-cloud scenario across two regions in GKE and AWS, while being able to offload our data and our applications from one to the other. We will also showcase the fact that PX Backup 2.1 now utilizes any types of storage underneath it. So we don't need to be running PX Enterprise. We can be running GKE Standard and AWS EC2 and migrate between those storage types. We also talk about secure self-service backup and restore within PX Backup with PX Secure. This allows you to provide role-based access controls for your users and admins on objects like schedules, cloud accounts, rules, and much more, allowing users to only see and access and manipulate what they have access to. All right, so let's dive into it. Here is Rpx Backup UI. We're going to log in as the administrator here. As you can see, we have a GKE cluster and an EKS cluster, and we have Kubernetes versions 1.21.5 and 120.11 across GKE and EKS. This also shows we can migrate between versions of Kubernetes, even if you're using managed Kubernetes. So let's dive in here. We have Cassandra namespace, a demo namespace. We're going to be looking at the demo namespace. Now, in that demo namespace, we have an application, which is a web interface connected to a Postgres database. That Postgres database is basically logging all these coordinates on the screen of where I'm clicking, and there's 37 database records up here. So now we're going to go ahead and create a backup of that namespace, and we're going to give it a name, which is going to call it backup 001. We're going to offload to AWS. In this case, we're going to protect ourselves from GKE being unavailable, their services, such as their cloud storage, etc. You can absolutely schedule your backups to do both. So therefore, you'll have data available in AWS and GKE in terms of backups, which allows you to restore quicker to one or the other. We do have the option to do that now, but we're going to just do a single schedule. We have pre-exec rules and post-exec rules. This gives you the opportunity to provide application awareness for your backups. So this Postgres pre-rule will actually go into the Postgres pod identified by the rule, which we created earlier, and will run a checkpoint command in the Postgres database itself so that we make sure we have a consistent backup that is application aware. So this will always run before that happens. Let's go ahead and take that backup. What you can see is that kicks off, and while that happens, you'll get a bunch of updates. You can check the status, show details. You can see that we are backing up that Kubernetes GKE volume, and then we will back up all the resources. While that's happening, let's go back and visit our PX Secure setup. PX Backup Security has the ability to have admins and other users such as Bob and Lisa, as you see here. There's a number of roles. Default is PX Backup Infra Admin, App Admin, and App User. And they have various levels of usage and access to specific roles. So user would be the least privileged in this case. And we have a number of different users that we'll showcase that for. Let's go back quick before we move on to our backup here and make sure it's complete. So there we go. We have a complete backup. We have details here showing that we have the config map, deployment, the persistent volume claim, and service here all in our backup. So everything you need to restore. Now let's go ahead and restore this into AWS. Say our GKE cluster is down and we can't access our restores. So we're going to go ahead and click restore. Now we select our AWS EKS cluster. And from here, we can default restore, we can go custom and do things like storage class map. So we know that we are on GKE standard storage. So now we have to select that we want our storage to be GP2. This is actually going to take the data within the volume that was on Google Cloud and migrate it into GP2 for your use. Namespaces can stay the same in this case, and we're going to replace existing resources. So let's go ahead and click restore. All right, so our restore is underway, and that will take a little bit of time to restore and get that load balancer back up. So let's head back over to PX security where we can dive back into here. So again, we have 3 roles: admin, Lisa, and Bob. Bob is the least privileged here, backup user. Now, this environment already has a number of different cloud settings set up in it. So remember, we have schedule policies, cloud settings, and rules. Cloud settings include your cloud accounts and your backup location. Keep in mind that these are all able to be shared. So as an admin, I own this and I can share it with Bob and Lisa, or an entire group within, say, your organization through LDAP or something similar. And this allows me to give access only to what these users need. And this doesn't mean they'll have access to my backups, and we'll show you that in just a little bit, but we're saying they can add clusters now using this cloud account. And so they may have a cluster in that cloud account. So that is our cloud settings. Backup locations are the same. We can do things with schedules. So our hourly schedules every 15 minutes or daily at 1 a.m. We may not want all users to be able to back up everything every 15 minutes. We may want to limit this schedule policy just to administrative or compliance matters. And here we can go ahead and only share access to our hourly group to, say, Bob, because maybe he's a developer. Oh, it's already checked for make accessible to everyone, but if we wanted to, we can go ahead and choose specific users here as well and update that. Again, that's for schedules. Every object within PX Backup is also available to be done this way. So as an owner, I am able to share the access to rules as well. So Bob and Lisa have access to the Cassandra rule, but they do not have access, I think, to this rule. So the Postgres pre-rule is only for admins. This is just for demonstration purposes only, to show that it is, flexible. So let's go ahead and now log in as Bob. Bob, again, is our app user. So app dev Bob. Type in our password, we log in. Now, keep in mind, I've already added the GKE cluster, but if you were Bob and wanted to add a cluster, and maybe you're trying to add someone else's cluster or something in EKS, well, you can do this because I've shared it. You can also use the GCP cloud account because I've shared it, and add it that way. We've already gone ahead and done that, so you can see GKE here. Now, if I click on it, I see the namespaces because every user sort of has the ability to list the different namespaces, but doesn't mean they can interact with them and take backups of them. So if I go to my backups, I have no backups here. So I can't see anything Lisa or admin has done in this same exact cluster because I'm a different user with different role-based access controls. Schedules that have been shared with me, I can use. So if I head over to schedule policies, I only have the hourly schedule available to me. Same goes with rules. If I go to rules, the Cassandra rules are only available to me. So it's pretty easy to tailor this to groups of users or individual users. All right, so let's head back to our admin interface. And from here, we can double check that our restore has completed. Oh, our restore is actually in our EKS cluster, of course. Head over to restore, it's done. Let's refresh our load balancers. And from here, we can see we have 3 of 3 instances up. Let's go ahead and grab this one. Now, if we pop this into our AWS load balancer. We should see all the data we did before. So 37 records. Here's our load balancer on GKE, 37 records. And that shows that we've now recovered from any disaster that may have happened in our Google Cloud accounts or services and restored on a completely different cloud with various types of storage from one cloud to the other. And this works across, different clouds and different regions and everything like that. And at the same time, keeping things secure. So I hope you found this demo useful and interesting. Stay tuned for more. And as always, take care.